the prison of the mind. The most dangerous prison in the world is not made of concrete, steel, or bars. It is invisible. It lives inside your head. And the jailer is not some guard, not some authority, not the system. It is your own thoughts. Think about this for a moment. Every victory, every failure, every opportunity you ever missed began with a single thought, a whisper in your mind, a belief you accepted as truth. That silent voice has been writing the script of your life from the very beginning. If your thoughts are scattered, negative, full of doubt and fear, then your life will reflect that chaos. But if your thoughts are clear, disciplined, and aligned with purpose, then the world itself will bend in your favor. This isn't wishful thinking. It isn't motivational fluff. This is law. The law that says, as you think, so shall you become. Your thoughts are not passive. They are commands. Every time you dwell on something, whether it's failure, weakness, or success, you are giving your subconscious an order. When you tell yourself, I'm not good enough, your subconscious accepts it as a fact and begins shaping your behavior to make it true. But when you affirm, I am capable, I will figure it out, I will rise, your subconscious also accepts that, and it goes to work to prove you right. This is why some people succeed despite every obstacle, while others crumble under the slightest pressure. The difference isn't resources. It isn't luck. It isn't even education. The difference is the program running in their minds. Let's make this real. Imagine two people standing at the edge of the same challenge. One looks at the mountain and thinks, it's too high. It's impossible. Why even try? He sees obstacles everywhere, reasons to quit before he even begins. The other person looks at that same mountain and thinks, there has to be a way. It will be hard, but I will climb. That belief shapes everything. Their emotions, their energy, their actions. One quits, the other persists. Same mountain, same environment, different outcome. Why? Because the mind creates the lens through which we see reality. And here is the brutal truth. You are not living life as it is. You are living life as you think it is. Your circumstances are less real than your interpretation of them. Two people can face the same event, say losing a job. One sees it as the end, the collapse of everything. The other sees it as an opportunity, the push they needed to finally build their dream. One spirals into despair. The other rises into possibility. Reality didn't decide that difference. Thought did. This is not just philosophy. It's neuroscience. Scientists have proven that thoughts literally rewire the brain. Every time you repeat a thought, the neurons in your brain fire together, creating a pathway. Repeat it long enough, and that pathway becomes a highway. Negative thoughts carve highways of negativity. Positive, empowering thoughts carve highways of possibility and strength. Your brain begins to filter the world through those highways, ignoring everything else. That is why people who constantly expect failure somehow always find it. And people who expect success against all odds seem to stumble into it. But here's what most people never realize. You are the farmer of your own mind. Every thought you entertain is a seed. Plant doubt, and you will harvest hesitation. Plant fear, and you will reap paralysis. But plant vision, plant discipline, plant faith, and you will harvest courage, progress, and abundance. The soil doesn't care what you plant. It will grow whatever seeds you give it. That is why so many people are trapped in invisible prisons. They keep planting weeds and wondering why they don't see roses. Let me give you a story. Picture a man who wakes up every morning telling himself, the system is rigged. People like me can't win. No matter what I do, it won't matter. He drags himself through the day, blind to opportunities, blind to growth. Even when something good comes his way, he dismisses it because he has trained his mind to reject possibility. His prison is not the world. His prison is his thoughts. Now, picture another man. He wakes up with nothing. No wealth, no connections, no guarantees, but he says, there must be a way. I will figure it out. I will persist until I succeed. He approaches challenges like puzzles, not walls. Slowly, his brain sharpens. He becomes more creative, more resourceful. He begins to notice doors that others ignore. Eventually, he builds wealth, freedom, and success. What's the difference? Same world, same challenges, different mindset. And here is the most sobering fact. The life you are living right now is not an accident. It is the evidence of your past thoughts. Every circumstance, every relationship, every level of confidence or lack of it, it all began in your mind. If you don't like where you are, the answer isn't to fight your circumstances. The answer is to upgrade your thoughts. Because once you take control of your inner world, the outer world must follow. Circumstances bend to the mind that is disciplined and focused. The world does not reward confusion. It rewards clarity. It rewards persistence. It rewards the one who decides what to think and refuses to surrender that decision. So the question is, what seeds are you planting in your mind right now? Are you feeding it fear, doubt, excuses? Or are you feeding it vision, courage, and abundance? Because whatever you plant, you will harvest. That is law. And the law does not care whether it destroys you or builds you. It only obeys. The greatest wealth is not in your bank account. It is in your mindset. A poor man with a rich mind will eventually rise. A rich man with a poor mind will eventually fall. Everything begins with thought. The thought is the seed. The thought is the command. The thought is the prison or the key to your freedom. And starting now, in this very moment, you have the power to choose. The discipline of thought. If your thoughts shape your reality, then discipline is the steering wheel. Without discipline, your mind drifts like a ship without a captain. It wanders into fear, doubt, comparison, distraction. And once the mind drifts, life drifts with it. But when you seize control of your thoughts, when you choose them with precision and persistence, you take command of your future. Most people don't realize this. They treat their mind as if it's a wild animal that cannot be tamed. They allow every fear, every doubt, every distraction to run free. They wake up, and the first thing they do is check their phone, flooding their mind with chaos, emails, messages, news, social media. They start the day reacting instead of creating, and then they wonder why life feels overwhelming. Discipline is not punishment. It is freedom. Think of the athlete who wakes up early to train, who denies distractions, who pushes through fatigue. He doesn't do this because he loves sacrifice for its own sake. He does it because he has chosen a destination. Every ounce of discipline is energy directed toward that destination. Without it, his talent is wasted. With it, he becomes unstoppable. Your mind works the same way. Discipline is about selecting your thoughts carefully and repeating them until they become your natural state. It's not about suppressing every negative idea. It's about creating an environment where empowering thoughts dominate so strongly that negativity has no room to grow. Here's a truth most people never grasp. A distracted mind cannot create wealth. Confusion never built confidence. Scattered energy never built an empire. The universe does not reward hesitation. It rewards clarity and consistency. That's why people who seem magnetic, people who attract opportunities and resources, always appear so focused. Their mind is not divided. Their thoughts are laser sharp. But let's be honest, discipline isn't easy. The moment you try to focus, resistance shows up. Your mind whispers, take a break, do it tomorrow, check your notifications. That resistance isn't proof you're failing. It's proof you're rewiring your brain. Just like lifting weights burns at first, training your thoughts feels uncomfortable. But every time you redirect your mind back to your purpose, you grow stronger. Here's a powerful practice: conscious redirection. Every time you catch yourself drifting into fear or doubt, pause and ask, does this thought serve my purpose? If the answer is no, replace it instantly. Swap fear for faith. Replace excuses with action. It doesn't matter how many times your mind wanders. What matters is how many times you bring it back. That repetition builds strength. Think of it this way: your mind is like a child. It doesn't do what you say once. It does what you train it to do consistently. If you leave it unsupervised, it runs wild. But if you guide it with patience and authority, it learns discipline. That's your job, the guardian of thought. Guard it with vigilance. Direct it with love. Command it with authority. And when you do, something remarkable happens. Confidence grows. Not the shallow kind that depends on applause, but a deep, unshakable certainty. You begin to trust yourself. You begin to believe not just in your dreams, but in your ability to achieve them. And that certainty changes everything. Here's the danger, though: doubt and fear are quiet enemies. They don't arrive with trumpets. They slip in as whispers disguised as logic. Be careful. Don't take risks. Maybe you're not ready. And if you listen long enough, that whisper becomes your truth. Fear works the same way. It doesn't always paralyze you. It just plants hesitation. One pause, one missed opportunity, one excuse to play it safe. And suddenly, years have passed and nothing has changed. Every thought you tolerate will eventually show up in your results. Tolerate doubt, and you'll tolerate failure. Feed fear, and it will grow until it rules your decisions. But here's the good news: the same law works in your favor. Install faith, and faith will shape your results. Train courage, and courage will shape your destiny. Your mind is the most advanced computer ever created, but it can only run the code you give it. Program fear, and you'll run the software of retreat. Program doubt, and you'll run the software of hesitation. But program faith, clarity, and determination, and your mind begins running the program of success. Napoleon Hill once wrote, "Doubt is the silent assassin of dreams." And history has proven him right. Look closely, and you'll see that the greatest failures weren't destroyed by lack of talent, lack of opportunity, or lack of intelligence. They were destroyed by doubt, by hesitation, by fear that killed action before it even began. But there is an antidote: discipline. Discipline to reject doubt the moment it appears. Discipline to replace fear with faith. Discipline to act, even when you don't feel ready. That's the bridge between thought and destiny. Without it, your mind betrays you. With it, your mind serves you. And here is where most people miss the point. Confidence does not come before action. Action comes first. And through repetition, confidence follows. Think back to when you first learned to swim or ride a bike. Fear screamed in your ears. Doubt told you it was impossible. And yes, you may have stumbled. You may have fallen. But by acting anyway, by repeating the motion, you built skill and confidence. The same principle applies to success, wealth, relationships, every area of life. Fear is not a stop sign. It is a signal that you're on the edge of growth. Doubt is not a verdict. It's a test, asking how badly you want it. If you run, you stay weak. If you face them, you grow strong. The mind you discipline today will shape the freedom you live tomorrow. So understand this. The world doesn't reward the scattered. It rewards the focused. It rewards the disciplined. And once you master the discipline of thought, you step into a level of clarity and confidence that few people ever know. And yet there is something even more powerful than discipline alone, something that turns thought into fuel and keeps the fire burning when challenges come. That force is faith, and it is where we must go next. The power of faith and belief. Discipline gives structure to your thoughts, but structure without belief is an empty shell. You can control your mind with precision, yet if deep down you don't believe in what you are aiming for, your efforts collapse like a house built on sand. This is where faith enters. Not blind faith, not naive hope, but the unshakable conviction that what you desire is already yours, waiting for you to claim it. Think of faith as the bridge between the invisible and the visible. It takes what exists in the realm of thought and pulls it into reality. Without faith, thought remains trapped as imagination. With faith, thought becomes flesh, action, and destiny. But here's the mistake most people make. They think faith is about religion. Faith has nothing to do with dogma. Faith is not reserved for the spiritual elite or the chosen few. Faith is the law of the universe that says, what you accept as truth with enough certainty will eventually shape your reality. Whether you realize it or not, you are living by faith every single day. When you sit in a chair, you don't test its strength. You trust it will hold you. When you start your car, you don't wonder if the engine will work. You assume it will. That's faith. The only question is, what are you placing your faith in? Doubt, fear, limitation, or possibility, growth, and abundance? Here's the paradox. Everyone has faith. The pessimist has faith that things will go wrong. The worrier has faith that danger is always near. The cynic has faith that nothing ever works out. And guess what? Life proves them right. But the visionary, the creator, the believer, they also have faith. They believe in opportunities, in solutions, in a brighter future. And life, in turn, proves them right. The law is neutral. It does not judge. It simply delivers. Faith begins with imagination. Before any invention, before any breakthrough, before any empire was built, someone believed in what they could not yet see. The airplane, the light bulb, the smartphone, these were all laughed at before they became reality. The people who changed the world weren't the ones who waited for evidence. They were the ones who created evidence by believing first. And here's the key. Belief doesn't mean ignoring reality. It means refusing to let current circumstances dictate the future. Faith is the courage to look at the facts, acknowledge them, and still declare, I know there is more. I know I can rise. I know this vision will manifest. But faith is fragile if it isn't fed. And the food of faith is repetition. Every affirmation, every visualization, every act of gratitude strengthens belief. Think of belief as a muscle. Leave it unused and it weakens. Train it daily, and it becomes unbreakable. Visualization is one of the most powerful tools here. When you close your eyes and see your goal as if it were already real, your subconscious begins to work as if it is real. Athletes use this before games. Entrepreneurs use it before deals. Leaders use it before speeches. They don't just imagine success. They embody it until the body itself believes. Gratitude is another. Gratitude trains your brain to focus on abundance instead of lack. Every time you give thanks for what you already have, you are telling the universe, I recognize abundance. I am ready for more. Gratitude shifts your vibration. And when your vibration shifts, your reality shifts. But let's be clear, faith is not about waiting. Faith is not sitting on the couch hoping money falls from the sky. Faith is active. Faith fuels action. When you believe deeply that success is inevitable, you act differently. You walk differently. You speak differently. You persist longer. People feel your conviction, and they are drawn to it. Opportunities sense your readiness, and they find you. And here's the beautiful irony. When you truly believe, you no longer chase. You attract. You stop begging the universe and start commanding it. Not arrogantly, but with certainty. You don't wonder if it will happen. You know it will. And because you know, you stop acting in desperation. You move with calm persistence. That energy is magnetic. That energy is abundance. Let's take an example. Imagine two entrepreneurs with the same business idea. One doubts constantly. He fears failure, worries about rejection, questions whether he is capable. Every obstacle feels like proof that he isn't ready. The other believes with absolute conviction. He faces the same obstacles, but interprets them as temporary, even valuable lessons. One quits early. The other adapts, persists, and eventually wins. The difference isn't intelligence or resources. The difference is faith. Now here's the challenge. Faith will always be tested. Life will send setbacks, delays, disappointments, not to destroy you, but to refine you. These trials are the gym where your belief is strengthened. Every time you hold your vision in the face of doubt, your faith grows. Every time you act despite fear, your faith deepens. That is how belief transforms into certainty. And once faith matures into certainty, you become unstoppable. People feel it when they're around you. They can't explain it, but they sense your confidence. They sense your clarity. They sense that you are not hoping. You are knowing. And that difference shifts everything. But faith without alignment will still collapse. You cannot declare abundance while living in contradiction, thinking abundance but acting in scarcity. The universe listens not just to what you think, but to what you embody. That's why the next step is crucial. You must align your thoughts, emotions, and actions so completely that you become the very frequency of what you desire. And that is where we go next. Alignment, the frequency of abundance. Faith is powerful, but faith without alignment is like electricity without a conductor. It sparks, it flashes, but it never lights up the room. Alignment is the final key. The act of bringing your thoughts, emotions, and actions into harmony with what you desire. When you are aligned, you don't just wish for abundance, you become abundance. Here's the truth most people avoid. You cannot think like a victim, feel like a failure, and act with hesitation while expecting the universe to deliver wealth and success. The universe does not respond to words. It responds to frequency. And your frequency is determined by the combination of your thoughts, emotions, and actions. If even one of those is out of tune, the signal is broken. Think of it like music. A single note played off key can ruin an entire symphony. But when every instrument is tuned, when the melody is clear and strong, it moves people to tears. Your life is the same. If your thoughts speak abundance, but your emotions vibrate fear, the song is broken. If your emotions burn with passion, but your actions betray laziness, the song is broken. Alignment is when all three, thought, feeling, and action, sing the same song. And when they do, the universe cannot resist. So how do you achieve this? Start with clarity. You cannot align with what you cannot define. Vague desires create vague results. Saying, I want success is like telling a GPS, take me somewhere nice. The system doesn't know where to go. But when you say, I want to build a thriving business that earns freedom and impact, you give your mind a destination. Clarity sharpens focus. Focus ignites alignment. Next, embody the emotions of already having what you desire. This is not pretending. It is training your vibration. If you want wealth, feel the gratitude of financial freedom now. If you want love, feel the joy and peace of connection now. The mind cannot distinguish between imagination and reality at the emotional level. The more you rehearse abundance emotionally, the more your subconscious programs it as truth. And when your subconscious accepts it as truth, your actions follow naturally. But emotions alone are not enough. Action completes the circle. Every decision you make is either aligned or misaligned with your vision. If you say you want health but continue feeding your body poison, you are misaligned. If you say you want success but spend your days scrolling endlessly, you are misaligned. Alignment requires proof, not to others but to yourself. Every action is a vote for the life you want. Every choice is a frequency broadcast, and the universe responds to that frequency with precision. Now, here is where many people stumble. They want instant results. They visualize for a week, affirm for a month, act with discipline for a season. And when the breakthrough doesn't come immediately, they quit. But alignment is not a quick fix. Alignment is a lifestyle. It is not about forcing the universe into your timeline. It is about trusting that the universe delivers in perfect timing. Think of planting a seed. You don't dig it up every day to check if it's growing. You water it. You nurture it. You trust the process. In time, the seed becomes a tree. The same is true for abundance. When your mind, emotions, and actions are aligned, the results are inevitable. The timing may surprise you, but the outcome is guaranteed. And here is the most liberating truth. Abundance is not something you chase. It is something you allow. It is already around you, already available, already waiting. But you cannot receive what you are not aligned with. The radio doesn't create the signal. It simply tunes in. You don't create abundance. You tune into it. And when you are tuned in, it flows naturally. So, how do you live aligned every day? Begin with awareness. Catch yourself when your thoughts drift into scarcity, when your emotions sink into fear, when your actions betray your vision. Correct gently but firmly. Realignment is a daily practice. Next, declare your vision every morning. Feel it in your body. See it in your mind. And take at least one action each day that proves your commitment. Small steps compound into massive transformation. And finally, let go. Alignment does not mean controlling every detail of how your dream unfolds. It means trusting that once you've set the destination, life will orchestrate the route. Obstacles are not detours. They are part of the design. Rejections are not failures. They are redirections. The universe is not against you. It is for you, but it cannot deliver what you are not prepared to receive. Alignment prepares you. So here is the ultimate choice. Will you continue living as a prisoner of doubt, reacting to circumstances, begging for change? Or will you rise as a creator, aligning your mind, emotions, and actions with the abundance that has been waiting for you all along? The law of attraction is not magic. It is law. Thoughts create. Emotions amplify. Actions confirm. Alignment unlocks. And once unlocked, abundance flows in ways you cannot predict, at a scale you cannot measure, and with a beauty you cannot deny. The prison doors are open. The keys have always been in your hands. It is time to walk out, time to align, time to live not as a victim of circumstance, but as a master of creation. The universe is listening. The frequency is set. The question is simple. Are you tuned in?